Good Monday morning, Vital Men. It's good to be with you on this Monday. Today we're going to talk about what it means to be a time that we must stand. And one of our Vital Men wrote this, and it's as patriots, this is the heading. It says, as patriots, we must stand. And let me read this to you this morning. On October 24th, 1780, Samuel Adams wrote in a letter to James Warren, if ever a time should come with vain and aspiring men shall possess the highest seats in government, our country will stand in need of its experienced patriots to prevent its ruin. That time is here. We as a country have reached a crossroads. Our current elected officials have created a void of character, morals, and principles within our own government. They are there for their own will and not for the will of the people that elected them to be the representatives. This care for has two distinct, vastly different paths. One road maintains our freedoms, rights, liberties, and upholds our Constitution. The other allows 535 members of the perversion of what was once our republic, the People's House and Senate, to dictate their will upon the 331.42 million people of this great country. The voices of our founding fathers are crying from their graves, telling us it's time, it's time. History must repeat itself. We must again put on the armor of patriotism, fuel the flames of freedom, and reignite the lantern of liberty. We as the people must live under the ethos of our republic that our founders fought for and the providence of God by which this country was born. I challenge each and every one of you to let your voices be heard. Stand up for your beliefs, your values, your faith. We must remember and remind these 535 members of the House and Senate that they are elected officials, not our leaders. If we fail to take a stand, John Adams' words will become our new reality. A constitution of government once changed from freedom can never be restored. Liberty once lost is lost forever. I think that echoes for us this morning. And I want to show you something in the Bible today that kind of helps us to understand, is it ever a time to go against what law or government says? And this is out of the book of Daniel. Daniel, he was an incredible leader at the time, and he was also he took a stand one time that they actually called a law, so where you couldn't pray. And I want to read a portion out of Daniel chapter 6, and this is what it says, starting with verse 10. After Daniel learns about what has happened. Let me go back. I'm going to start with verse 6. So the administrators and high officers went to the king and said, long live King Darius. We are in all in agreement, we administrators, officials, high officers, advisors, and governors, that the king should make a law that will strictly enforced. Give orders that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions. And now, your majesty, issue and sign this law so it can be changed. An official law of these Medes and Persians that cannot be revoked. So King Darius signed a law. So we see it's going actually against biblical principles, against the very moral spiritual fiber of what was going on, because the Jewish people actually lived in time under exile under the Persians. And now King Darius is making this decree, and it's not fair, but he's being, what I would say, persuaded to make this law. But let's see what Daniel does. But when Daniel learned that the law had been signed, he went home and knelt down as usual in his upstairs room, with his windows open toward Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he had always done, giving thanks to God. Then the officials went together to Daniel's house and found him praying and asking for God's help. So they went straight to the king and reminded him about his law. Did you not sign a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone, divine or human, except to you, your majesty, will be thrown into the den of lions? In this story, we see Daniel making a stand against government law that was not just or was it not right. And I encourage us today, we are having a lot of things in our country that are being challenged against the very religious faith of which we stand upon. Man, I encourage you today, we all have a voice. It's as patriots, as a Christian, we are called to make a stand. I encourage you today to make a stand respectfully, but allow our voices to be heard. Now is the time, vital men, to be heard and take a stand. I encourage you to think about the words that we've talked about this morning. I hope you have a great day. Be a voice, be a patriot, be a Christian, make a stand. Have a great day.